forward to this.
What's up everyone, how's it going? So we currently have a roadmap on the website for Star Wars Battlefront 2, but the problem is it only goes up until June of this year, and it doesn't give a whole lot of details. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it's very bare minimum on what we're going to be getting within the next few months. So in this video, I just wanted to kind of talk about and kind of speculate on what I hope to see and just what my kind of predictions are for the next year or so for Star Wars Battlefront 2. And over the past few weeks or so, there has been some interesting comments coming from the developers themselves. So I wanted to talk about these before we got into the actual content that I hope to see. So the first one comes from Jay Ingram, who is one of the community managers for this game, and he was responding to Jan David Hassel, and he says, looks like the petition on Reddit for us to get more developers that got like 15 votes worked. So obviously he's joking about the petition actually changing this, but we are getting more developers sometime, hopefully soon. I don't know how long the approval process takes or the hiring process. It could be 6 months or it could be 3 months, I have no idea. But I believe they said that they're looking at hiring around 40 of them. Now, this does not mean 40 new people are coming to work on Battlefront 2, though that would be great. Unfortunately, this will be split up between Battlefront 2 and Battlefield. So hopefully we get around 20 or so. Hopefully they split it half and half, but we have no idea. It's kind of like how long it'll take for them to actually get hired. We can get 5 new developers or we can get 25. You know, we have no idea, but hopefully we get at least 15 or 20. That would really help out, I think, a little bit in terms of getting more content each month in the game. So another comment on Twitter comes from another developer, and I believe he's moved over to mainly work on Battlefield, but I think he's still working on Battlefront. But one of these fans actually responded to one of his posts on Twitter. He said, "Keep up the good work, man. It's quite a miracle you guys still support the game," and obviously he's talking about Battlefront 2. And then Jan responded saying, "Oh, we're just getting started." So that is really good news right there. There was a lot of rumors, especially on MakingStarWars.net, about how Battlefront 3 is already in the works or something like that, but then Dennis Brandval, who is the lead design director, did confirm that that is not true and that they are mainly focusing on Battlefront 2, and it has many more things to come for it. So there's some really good news coming out in terms of the future of this game. Ben Walk even responded to someone asking why there wasn't anything for Battlefront 2 at Star Wars Celebration this year, and he responded saying that they'll see what they can do next year. So that's not confirming that this game is getting support up to 2020, but that is a good hint that we are going to get at least another year and a half or so for getting more content for this game. But mainly what this video is about is me just kind of speculating and what I hope to see for the future of this game. So I've got kind of just a list of main points of things I want. Now none of these are in particular order, but the first one I have on this list is new maps. So the last new map that we got is Geonosis for Capital Supremacy, and it is so much fun to play as, but honestly it can get repetitive super quickly because at the moment we only have Geonosis as well as Kashyyyk, and obviously we're getting Kamino and Naboo in the next 2 months, so that is good news. But just even playing 4 maps over and over again, it will get repetitive pretty quickly, and I do think they need to look into adding more arrows for this game mode, because I believe they said at the moment this mode is Clone Wars only, which is super unfortunate news. I was hoping that it would get released with like 1 Clone Wars map, 1 original trilogy map, and then 1 sequel trilogy map, but that was not the case obviously. At launch we just got Geonosis, and the new map was really fun to play as, but like I said, it just got repetitive so quickly. So I do believe they should look into adding more arrows for this mode, because if they do that, then eventually it will overtake Galactic Assault in terms of the main game mode that people play. But let's talk about new maps, like not ones that are already in the game. There's so many of them, especially from the Clone Wars, that a lot of people want, and even ones from Rogue One. So the Clone Wars, I can name so many at the top of my head. I mean, Coruscant, Mustafar, we obviously got Geonosis, which is my #1 map I wanted to see, and then Utapau, and then Mustafar. There's just so many that I think they can look into, but the main ones I want from the Clone Wars have to be Coruscant, Mustafar, and Utapau. Personally, I do not think we'll ever get Coruscant in Battlefront 2. One, because it would take so much time to make. I mean, Geonosis took months upon months to make, and it is a pretty in-depth map, but I do believe that Coruscant would take a lot more time to create, unfortunately, just because of how many details they have to look in and all the buildings. It would just take a long time to make. Unless they did something where it's just like inside the Jedi Temple, something a little bit simpler, I can actually see that happening. But in terms of like a Coruscant City map, I don't think that will happen in this game. Maybe in Battlefront 3, but right now it is highly unlikely. I think the map with the highest chance of getting into the game is going to be Utapau, just because it was already a huge battle there in Revenge of the Sith, and it's a pretty iconic place. I mean, General Grievous and Obi-Wan fought there, and a lot of people thought this was the map that we were going to get, because a lot of leaks were coming out saying General Grievous and Obi-Wan are coming, so I mean, everyone thought it would just simply make sense to bring them along with Utapau. But there's also Scarif from Rogue One that I've seen a lot of people want for this game, and I'd love to see him bring it back. It was featured in Battlefront 2015 in the Scarif DLC, and it was a really fun map. It looked amazing, and they have proved that they can port over maps like they did it with Bespin. But they did confirm that say that it does take quite a long time as well as just creating a new map, so they said they might as well take the time and effort to just make a whole other planet instead of one that we've already seen before, and that makes sense, but I think it would be really cool to see Rogue One make its return sometime down the line. But my other map that I really want to see is Mustafar. Now, I don't think this would work really well with Capital Supremacy. Maybe with Galactic Assault they can make it somehow, but I'm not too sure. But I would really like to see this map as a heroes versus villains as well as heroes showdown planet, just because it makes sense. I mean, Obi-Wan and Anakin fought on it, and I think it'd be a great way to include like a 1v1 lightsaber duel mode into the game. I made a whole video on that, so if you want to check it out, I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description below. But basically, I just like that mode to be where you can choose any Jedi or any lightsaber villain in the game, and you can just fight each other, just 1v1, and you can beat him over and over again. It's not like Hero Showdown where once you defeat someone as a lightsaber hero, you have to choose a different hero. But like I said, I made a whole video talking about that, so link will be in the description below if you want to check it out. So that is maps on my first thing on the list that I'd love to see come in the future. So next up is something that people are talking about all the time, and unfortunately we don't really have a straight answer on this, and that is new weapons. So Jay Ingram did confirm on Discord that he does know that we do want more weapons, but unfortunately for whatever reason they have not said much more other than that in terms of making new weapons. And what really sucks is that there's already a whole bunch of weapons in the game files right now. I mean, there's some that are used in single player but not multiplayer, and then there's some in the files that aren't used in single player or multiplayer at all either. So I'm not really sure why they've kept those locked away from us and not let us use them. There's some pretty cool ones, in fact, a lot from Battlefront 2015. But there's a ton of weapons. I think that's like the main priority they should look on in the next 2 or 3 months or so. Maybe include new weapons with new reinforcements or something like that. But I think maybe if we get 3 for each class, I know that's kind of stretching it, but I do think that a ton of weapons would really help bring some more life to the game, because weapons are the core of the gameplay. But let me know your thoughts down below. What weapons would you like to see in this game? I'd like to see some hero weapons like Bossk's Welby or even Boba Fett's EE3. But the next thing on my list that I'm going to be talking about is more heroes. Now, this has been a kind of controversial topic that I've seen around the community, because we have gotten 4 heroes over the past few months or so for this game. And those, of course, were Obi-Wan, Anakin, Grievous, and Count Dooku. And those were the 4 main Clone Wars heroes that everyone was pretty much asking for. But there is 2 more heroes that I would love to see be added to this game, and those are Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress. Now, there has been quite a few leaks regarding those heroes being worked on. The main one comes, of course, from some_info, who is a very reliable leaker. He's been leaking things for so long now for this game, and he did say that they have been being worked on for the past 2 months or so, along with Asajj Ventress being Ahsoka's counterpart, which is great news. I'd love to see him come into this game. Now, my prediction is at EA Play this June that those 2 heroes are going to be announced, just to bring some more players back, because everyone's going to be watching EA Play. And if they announce Ahsoka and Asajj Ventress, I think people will go pretty crazy, because those are 2 heroes that people have been asking for quite a long time now. But other than them, I'm pretty happy with the amount of heroes that we've gotten so far. So honestly, if they add those 2, I would be pretty content with the amount of heroes and wouldn't really be worrying about any more coming, and I would want them to focus on more aspects of the game. And one of those aspects could be reinforcements. Now, that's the next thing on my list. So I do believe that we have a pretty huge chance of more reinforcements coming, because a while back, if you don't remember, Ben Walk actually tweeted out saying, "I can't wait until we show everyone the blank and the blank." And then recently, I believe about a month ago, he responded on Discord when someone, I guess, asked him about it, and he said one of the things still has not been seen yet, and he said one of them is already in the game, which is the ARC Trooper. So there's still one more thing left to be seen that he was talking about in that tweet. And honestly, this could be absolutely anything. Hopefully it's Republic Commandos. That's my #1 reinforcement that I'd love to see in this game, just because I remember playing that game as a kid and they became canon through the Clone Wars show, so hopefully it'd be really cool to see him come back. But it could also be Droidekas, because if you don't remember that Droideka fiasco whenever the Clone Legions got released, the promotional art for it in the very bottom, you could barely see like a real low poly render of a Droideka, so that does mean that they were working on them at some point, but the developers did say how hard it was to make them, so that they're most likely not going to be coming, which is bad news, but at the same time pretty reasonable. But I really do strongly believe that Republic Commandos are going to be added to this game at some point, mainly because Ben has tweeted about them saying how much he wants them in this game, as well as their pistol was actually found in the files with the recent update. I believe it's called the DC-7 17M. It's the gun that they used in the older game, so that gun being in the files really raises the chance of them being in this game at some point. Well, there's a lot they can do with Republic Commandos. I mean, they had multiple different weapon attachments, so they could use a grenade launcher, or switch their main gun to a sniper rifle, or just go to their normal pistol, which doesn't run out of ammo. So it'd be pretty interesting to see. Now, whenever I look through the files, I looked at some lines of code for it, and I actually talked about ammo being for the gun, so this could be a new feature they're implementing, which would be really awesome to see. But there's also a lot more reinforcements I'd love to see in this game, and those being like the Magna Guard paired with the Jedi Temple Guard. You know, they can implement a melee class for this game, and there's just a whole lot more reinforcements that they could add, so I do think that they're going to focus a lot more on these, maybe after they add Ahsoka if they are planning on doing so. But the final thing on my list that we're more than likely going to be getting, and that is new skins. We have been getting a few new ones. We just got the new Princess Leia skin, which looks awesome. They did a good job on it. And to my surprise, they actually made it free, so you just have to do that challenge as a team, and then you just had to log in and you got it unlocked for free. But there's so many more skins that they could look into, like Bespin Luke, or my personal favorite, the A New Hope Luke, or the Farm Boy Luke as some people call it. There's a lot more like Hooded Darth Maul, Robot Legs Darth Maul, Damaged Darth Vader, and then just many more. But that is pretty much all for this video, so my main 5 things are weapons, maps, heroes, reinforcements, and new skins. But let me know if you guys agree with my list, and then what you would change, and then what you would add to it. But yeah, that is pretty much all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure and leave a like. It really helps out a lot. And if you're new, subscribe for more Star Wars news, gameplay, and more. And I will hopefully see you in the next one.